Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Daily Revelations. Thanks for joining me and going on this journey with me, which is a lot about me. And I'm hoping that you're getting something in your daily Bible study about you as well, because God wants to speak to our hearts. And what I'm going to share today is something that God has been speaking to my heart about since this weekend, and even way before that. It's something that I've struggled with understanding about myself. And kind of wrestled with it in prayer and through some scriptures this morning. And God opened a door to me that I've never understood about myself and why I kind of perceived some things the way I perceive them. So I just want to encourage you too, if you've been in a place where you go, God, why do I do this? I don't understand why I have this reaction, why I feel this way about how when people act this way towards me, or anything else, just how we respond to things usually has something to do with something that happened to us long ago. And those things are sometimes painful to bring up, and yet we still need to wrestle through them because it helps us to understand ourselves, and it helps us to be wise to receive the counsel that we need to move forward. And that's really, as I'm finishing up Proverbs, and then we're doing a little bit in Ecclesiastes as I finish up this week for my biblical theology class. Those were the main themes. And yet I said to some women at the retreat I was at this past weekend that the one thing I totally struggle with is when other people want to speak truth into my life. And one person even said during this retreat that if you're like that, then you are just prideful. And I thought, but the problem is I really have asked God to help me with pride a long time ago, and I realize it does crop up, but every time I went to that was not what God was telling me was the issue with my unwillingness to listen to people. And as I was praying this morning, it says that those who love discipline equal those who love knowledge. And I thought, but I love being disciplined by God. I love being disciplined in certain areas of my life. So what is it about these certain instances where I just reel back when someone speaks truth at me? And what it came to, what God really showed my heart this morning, was that I grew up in a church environment where there was a lot of untruth spoken at me. And I find it really hard to trust people who say they're speaking for God, and yet there are things that really make me feel like I'm being judged and not loved. And that's how the church that I was brought up in, that's how truth was taught. And it makes me close that door right away because I don't feel the love. All I feel is this is what I have to throw at you. And if you don't accept it as truth, then you aren't faithful. But God doesn't work that way. God's truth, as I talked about way back, he wants to get to our hearts. And so as I was reading through these things, is that, yes, a wise man does listen to counsel, but not the counsel of the wicked, the counsel of the righteous. And so where we get counsel and how we are disciplined is also within the realm of, am I getting wise instead of foolish discipline? And that's why I think I've always turned to God as the one who I desire most to correct me, because I know I don't have to question him. And I know his intentions are always pure and always perfect. And yet, can I allow those people that God puts into my life to speak truth to me to do that? And I'm thinking that that's much of a healing process that I have to go through to allow that to happen more in my life than currently I do. And And so, I don't know, it made me come away relieved that this isn't just a hardness of my heart. It's a place where a scar has left some maybe impenetrable places in my heart that need to be healed versus this is just a sinful reaction I have. And we often judge ourselves on those things that we react to because we're told that that's a sinful response. But we have to get down to where that sinful response is coming from and realize maybe it isn't sin per se as we are choosing to do this way. It's a way that we're reacting, and that there's something deeper that God wants to deal with in our lives. And it, instead of the black and white version of sin, it's something that it's going to take time. It's going to take understanding, and it's a gray area in our life that truly, from our heart, we want to be healed, but it's not something that can be healed by saying, "Do this, don't do that," and then you'll be fine. It's something that we have to walk with God through, and it's a journey. So, anyways, I'm kind of all over the place today, but I hope what I had to share with you is something that struck a chord, that that helps you understand that that God's wisdom is not just a black and white wisdom of this is right and this is wrong. This is how you behave. This is not how you behave. And if you just stay in this nice little area, then you're doing what I tell you. God calls us to go into those places where we are hurt, where we need healing, and to dig deeper, to come closer to Him, and to find His truth in the midst of that, instead of saying, well, I'm just messed up, I'm bad. That can easily be our response, but that's not real wisdom. If we are just saying, that's the way it is, and I'm just going to accept it and move on. There's more. Wisdom is so deep, it's so rich. And so we can't just get it in little nuggets and then walk away. These are things we have to wrestle with God. And on the other side, we will gain a wisdom that is beyond just what, just some little Bible verse that we can toss at somebody, some little nice saying that that conveys some truth, but deep down we will truly understand what that truth does in a transforming way to change our lives, and use a counsel that only God can provide for us in the midst of our pain and our hurt. So thanks everyone for joining me today. I will see you again on Daily Revelations tomorrow. Bye.